and cold water. And it takes about 30 minutes to fully get soaked in the water. So that's why we begin it. And also we ask you to pre-wash this minute. But before we begin the program, I would like to briefly introduce about our group. I believe this is first time having a program with your library. So I would like to briefly introduce about our group and activities since 2005. As I mentioned, I'm a member of a Korean Spirit and Culture Promotion Project. And back in 2005, we are actually under the Buddhist group called the Diamond Sutra Station Group. And our master Kim Jae-woong began this project back in 2005 to show our gratitude to the countries who helped the Korea during the Korean War, especially U.S. sent a lot of young soldiers to defend our country, and we still remember and thank for their sacrifices and gallantry. So that's why we began this project by publishing books, complementary books on Korean history and culture. So far, we have published and printed 8 different kinds of books on in 6 different languages, and we've been handed out over 780,000 copies throughout the world. And also, before the pandemic, we had an in-person complimentary presentation, also cooking class, and also lantern craft classes, including all together. We've been hosting over 2,000 presentations on Korean history and culture throughout the country. And also, we are holding an essay contest every year on our book called the Chunhyo-ye, which is a folk tales of Korea. This May, we just finished up our 14th essay contest, and we're going to open up our 15th nationwide essay contest in winter, this coming winter soon. So if anybody interested in our program or books or any essay contest, you can visit our website. And I believe we sent books 50 Wonders of Korea Volume 2. And that is for the science and technology, but also it has recipes and it introduces about Korean food. So anyone who didn't pick up the books from library, I recommend you pick up the library because we sent some books to your library. So that's a brief introduction about our group and activities so far. And before we begin to make a japchae, I would like to briefly give you an idea, basic background information on Korean food. I'm going to show this PowerPoint here. Korean food is actually very balanced meal, and unlike any other country's food, Korean food we eat mainly we eat it together like a rice soup and with a lot of vegetables as a side dish, and usually one main dish, fish or meat. So ratio, like a daily meal of a Korean diet, usually made up of 80% of vegetables and 20% of meat or fish. So unlike other countries, Korean meal consists of rice, soup, one main dish, and with a various vegetable side dish called the banchan. That's why if you go to Korean restaurant and even though you order just one dish, 3 dishes are coming together. So Korean meal is very balanced. As you can see this picture, you eat the kimchi, which is also side dish. It's not a main dish. So there is a misunderstanding that Korean food is spicy because of kimchi. But kimchi is not a main dish. We eat it as a side dish. And another key feature of a Korean food is 70% of a Korean food is fermented, which means they are rich in probiotics. And the health benefits of Korean food is coming from wisdom of enlightened teachers throughout our history. So that's why we have a lot of fermented food, such as doenjang, fermented soybean paste sauce, kimchi, fermented vegetable. For example, when people feel uncomfortable within their stomach or internal organ, they become emotionally and mentally unstable, which would cause them to do bad things. So therefore, by creating and enriching probiotics food, such as like the kimchi, kimchi or any other food. It's not, I'm sorry. So enlightened master hope the people commit the last scene. And this is the short film that how we make a kimchi. According to the research in Korea, kimchi, 1 gram of kimchi contains 10 millions of probiotics, which means very good for your immune system. And that is why the Health magazine claims kimchi is one of 5 healthiest food in the world. And this is showing the short film how we make a kimchi. Kimchi, we have 200 different types of kimchi in Korea. So this is just one type of kimchi she's making, which is a napa cabbage kimchi. We make a seasoning inside, and we add salted fermented fish sauce or shrimp sauce. This is the good food for the probiotics. And as I mentioned, we have 200 different types of kimchi. We put the seasoning by layers, like here. And then let it fermented, and then we eat as a side dish, as I mentioned. So this is one type of kimchi, napa cabbage kimchi, white kimchi, without the chili pepper. But the scientific reason we are adding the chili pepper in kimchi is chili pepper helps to produce the good probiotic also. And this is a hanji kimchi, I mentioned, and this is bo kimchi, the wrapping kimchi. Bo means wrapping, and this is radish kimchi, and this is 총각 kimchi, and this is another radish kimchi, 석박지, and this is the 배추 kimchi, the napa cabbage kimchi you usually see it. And also we have so much fermented soy food in Korea that this is a basic sauce of Korea, which come from the fermented soybean block. And also, as you can see here, meju is a soybean block, and this is key of our major sauces: soy sauce, 된장, 고추장. 된장 is actually the fermented soybean paste sauce, and the 1 gram of 된장 contains 1 million of probiotics. I mentioned kimchi is 10 million, and 된장 is 1 million. And also, 된장 contains a lot of lecithin, which is good for your brain function, memorizing skill. So this is the brief introduction of the Korean food. And we're gonna make a japchae. Who came in late? I mentioned we need to soak the noodle in water first. Who didn't put in a noodle in the water? Just, put in a water, soak the noodle in water. Okay, we're gonna begin the japchae by blanching the spinach first. Japchae, japchae is actually came from jap means various vegetable, and chae means vegetable. So basically, it means mixed with the vegetable. And back in 200 years ago, we started adding noodles. So I'm gonna start with the spinach. I just turn on my stove with a little bit of water, and I pre-washed my spinach already. You don't have to boil, just warm water will work. We add a pinch of salt, a little bit of salt, and put the spinach in the pot. I'm gonna blanch it the spinach a little bit. You don't have to boil it, just lightly blanch the spinach, or you can steam it if you want. So, and prepare the cold water next to it. We're gonna wash it once we cook it. It takes about 1 or 2 minutes to cook it. And then we're gonna cut the vegetable one by one, and then we're gonna stir fry. So next, after the spinach, we're gonna cut the vegetables. I think my spinach is done. Can you see it? So I prepared the cold water. Let's do it. See it here? This is cold water next to it. I'm gonna just put in a cold water and rinse it, wash it, cool down the spinach. Here. I'm gonna move my pot. And wash it. Gently wash it with the cold water and squeeze the water out. Squeeze it gently, not too hard. And then we're gonna season it later, and the water needs to down a little bit. So I'm gonna place in a empty bowl, and then we're gonna season it later at last. Everyone is good for spinach so far?
Yes, I think we're all good. Thank you, Jan.
So next, we're gonna cut the vegetables. We need the onion, 3 different colors of bell pepper, or carrots, and mushroom. Two different types of a mushroom. We have a pyogo mushroom. Usually you call this shiitake, but in Korean it calls pyogo, and the udier mushroom. I emailed that you need to pre-soak this dry the udier mushroom in water, and then you need to rinse with fresh water before you cook it. Whoever didn't soak the udier mushroom, please place in water and then soak it a little bit and then wash it. It takes about 20 minutes to fully soak it in the water. It gets soaked. And then we're gonna cut the vegetable first. So we're gonna begin with the onions first. We don't need just a whole. This is gonna be finished the japchae, and this is ingredients. Everyone has ingredients, right? The recipe, right?
Yes, everyone should have picked that up. If you have not, we do have that all printed out for at the library.
Or I can share. I can share as a file at the end. So let me know whoever needs the recipe, and I'm gonna begin with this onion. So onion, we just need this amount. I'm not gonna tell the amount of ingredients because I assume everyone has a recipe. And we're gonna slice it, but not the half moon. We're gonna slice along the line of longitude like this. Slice it this way. Can you see it? It's not the half moon. We're gonna cut it along the lines of longitude like this. Slice it. I'm slowly slice it. So about this thin. Can you see the thickness?
Yes, that looks good. Don't cut yourself.
So I'm gonna place in an empty bowl. We're gonna stir fry later. And next, we're gonna cut the bell pepper. We're going to use the 3 different colors of bell pepper. As you can see here, this is 3 different. Actually, we're using 5 different colors of a vegetable. For the japchae, actually in Korea, we believe food and medicines are coming from same origin. So we try to heal the body by eating things. So each color of a vegetable is good for your each organ. So white color is good for your lung. Yellow is good for your spleen or stomach. Red is good for your heart. Green is good for your liver. And brown or black color is good for your kidney. So each color of a vegetable is good for you, each organ. And also we are, that's why, Korean people try to keep the body with by eating things first. So that's the basic philosophy of a Korean food. So I'm gonna cut the bell pepper yellow first. I'm gonna just use a half of it. I'm gonna take a seed out like here. And you can cut bottom and top. And if you have a leftover bottom and top of bell pepper, you can add it to your salad. And then you put the skin down, skin side down, and slice into strips like here. Can you see? Can you see here?
Yes, I think.
So if you need more time, let me know. And if I can see you on the screen, I can see how you are working. So if you don't mind to turn on the video, that'll be helpful for me. I can check how we are doing. So I'm gonna place the sliced bell pepper yellow color in empty bowl. Next, I'm gonna cut the orange bell pepper, same. We're gonna take a seed, pour out, top and bottom, and slice into thin stripe. And place in the same bowl here. And red color of bell pepper, we're gonna take 4 out, seed out, and cut top and bottom. And slice into stripe. If you need more time to follow, just let me know. You can chat or you can just, wave. And whoever used the carrot instead of bell pepper, I'm gonna show how we're gonna do it. We're gonna just, you can substitute with a carrot for the bell pepper. We're gonna julienne the carrot. Be careful, it's hard. Sometimes you can use a shredder if you want to you can use either one. If you don't feel cut it by hand, you can use.
And can you use both peppers and carrots?
Yeah, we can use both. But you can just use the carrots only. But it's better to use 5 different colors of vegetable because its color is more pretty and nutrition wise is much better. So this is slice. So I'm gonna place it here in the same bowl.
And a copy of this video will go up on our library YouTube channel. If you want to rewatch it. It'll probably be another week before that is on our YouTube channel.
Thank you for reminding me. And this is the wood ear mushroom. I believe Lynn handed it out, right? The wood ear mushroom.
Yes, they really expand quite a bit, right?
Yeah, this
Because
is
they
the
were very
dry
little.
one. And
Yes.
when salt in the water, it gets, twice bigger. So, but before you cook it, you see, I'm not sure if you can see clearly or not, there's a hard part at the bottom. So we need to take out this part. We don't use this one. Take it out, each of it. And in Korea, we eat a lot of dried vegetables because in wintertime, our ancestor, from our history, our ancestor ate the dried vegetables. So that's why even though during the winter we could have a vegetable, we have a kimchi, fermented vegetable, and also dried vegetable. And also, according to the scientists, when you dry the vegetables or fruit, the nutrition in it gets at least double, especially the sun-dried one. So we eat a lot of dried vegetable. So and we're gonna cut this uduir mushroom, and this is about length, like an inch length. And I'm gonna place in the bowl. We're gonna marinate the mushroom. And this is also dried mushroom. You can always substitute the mushroom with any other mushroom. Like you can use any other mushroom if you want. So, but we just want to use the 5 different colors of vegetables. So I'm using the brown color of the mushroom. And this is also dried one. I soaked it in the water about 2 hours and gets soft. And you can use it. And dry the pyogo mushroom, you usually call it shiitake, but the Korean it called the pyogo, and it contains a lot of vitamin E and also rich in antioxidants. So if you wanna, have a beautiful skin, I recommend you have a pyogo mushroom a lot. And also this udir mushroom also is good for your immune system. So in Korea, we make a tea with this udir mushroom, but with a good quality one, organic, good quality one. So this is the dried pyogo mushroom, which I already pre-soaked in water. And we're going to take a stem out, like here. And I just want to give you a tip. If you have the leftover vegetable, you dump it in the water and boil it together. It comes out delicious vegetable broth. So I took out the stem and I'm gonna also slice it into strips. And I'm gonna place it in the same bowl with the udir mushroom. And then we're gonna marinate this mushroom first. I'm gonna add the soy sauce, the amount of the marinating sauce for the everything, and everything for the noodles and the mushroom, spinach, everything in recipe. And a little bit of a sweet. This is a honey and sesame oil, and mix it together. A little bit of more soy sauce. And I'm gonna place on the side that it marinated a little bit. And then we are ready to stir fry the vegetable one by one. Everyone is ready for the stir fry of the vegetable. We're good for the next step.
Yes, we're ready to watch it sizzle.
Okay. Okay. So you need any skillet and any type of a cooking oil. little bit of a sea salt. I recommend that you use sea salt instead of a purified one. The reason I'm telling you to use the uh, sea salt is, as you may know, the sea salt contains uh, much more mineral and the less sodium. And this salt I prepared is called the bamboo roasted salt. This is Korean traditional salt. How we made this one, we put the sea salt in bamboo and we roast in a very hot temperature, like a 1500 Celsius degree. And we roast it up to 9 times, at least 3 times to up to 9 times. And we purify the sea salt. And this is very good for detox also. So I'm gonna him my prepare any skillet and any type of cooking oil. I recommend you use the avocado oil, any oil that good for the high heat, not the olive oil. That's for the salad dressing at the low temperature. So this is for, we're gonna begin with the light color to dark color. So we're gonna begin with from onion, bell pepper, and mushroom. So this is the order we're gonna stir fry. And we're gonna add a little bit of a cooking oil, not too much. And the temperature we need to is about medium heat, about 250, 250 Celsius degree. I'm sorry, 250 Fahrenheit degree. So a little bit of cooking oil. And we're gonna put the sliced onion and add a pinch of salt and stir fry. And keep stir frying until onions looks clear. It takes about 2 minutes to done. And then we're gonna place in a separate bowl for each vegetable. The reason we're placing the each bowl and cool down is the color is more vivid. And then we're gonna mix it together later. I think mine is done. Can you see it? It's a little bit dark, but I think my onion is almost done. So I'll place it in an empty bowl. And see here, I'm gonna cool it down. And I'm gonna place next, we're gonna stir fry, skillet, saute the bell pepper. This is a yellow bell pepper. And pinch of salt. You can stir fry together with the yellow and orange, but not the red. Red color is a darker, so just cook it separately. Keep stirring. It's the same temperature, 250, around 250 medium heat. I'm gonna place in an empty bowl and cool down. I place in a separate bowl. So onion is done, bell pepper is done. And it's time for the red bell pepper. I'm gonna wipe up my pan a little bit and add a little bit of cooking oil and bell pepper. Same, we're gonna add a pinch of sea salt, keep stir saute, stir fry it. Just a quickly stir fry. You don't have to cook too much. And we're going to place in a separate bowl. And we're using the carrot. It's a same. We add a little bit of cooking oil and stir fry. Carrot needs a little bit of a more time than bell pepper. Because it's hard. Add a little bit of sea salt and stir fry. So cook until it gets very soft. It takes about 1-2 minutes on the medium heat. Watch out because sometimes they burn easily. After we saute and stir fry every vegetable, we're gonna cook the noodles. So you need 5 cups of water, soy sauce, and the marinating sauce, seasoning sauce for the noodles. So prepare for it. We're gonna cook the noodle. If you can warm up your water on the side, that is very helpful. So we need 5 cups of water. So I'm gonna place this one in the separator. We're good so far?
Yes, we're enjoying you doing all the work, Jan.
Okay, so last thing we're gonna do it is a mushroom, and then as I mentioned, we're gonna cook the noodle. So for the noodle sauce, we need 5 cups of water, soy sauce, and the sugar or honey, and cooking oil, and the sesame oil. So prepare for it, and then you can heat up the water, and that is make it easier. So, but before we make a noodle sauce, I'm gonna stir fry, saute the mushroom. So heat up the skillet over medium heat, and you can add a cooking oil if you don't want to. That's fine because we already put the sesame oil, but I'm gonna add a little bit of cooking oil here today, and I'm adding and keep stir frying. And whoever used the beef or any other meat, there was an additional recipe for the meat. And if you wanted, you can use the meat. And you need to marinate the beef or any kind of meat for your japchae before you cook it. And after you finish up the stir fry, the mushroom, you can cook the meat. The reason I'm asking you to marinate the beef at least the day before, because when you beef and other meats needs to be fermented actually. So according to research, when you marinate the meat with the soy sauce or sugar, it reduces the COP, which means the cholesterol oxidant products, which causes your heart disease. So if you wanna have a beef, it's better to eat the marinated one, fermented one. So that's bulgogi. I think everyone heard of a Korean barbecue, right? bulgogi. That's
Yes.
a good example. And if we can have a second cooking for the bulgogi, I can show how to make it. And with the bulgogi sauce, we can try to make a bulgogi burger, bulgogi taco, everything. So we can. So mushroom is done, and I'm gonna place in an empty bowl. So we all prepared the vegetables so far. So this is mushroom is done. So we are ready for onion, bell peppers, carrots, and mushroom. So we're gonna cook the noodles. We're gonna cook the noodles. Remember, we pre-soak the noodle in water, and before we cook it, we need to drain the noodle, and also we need to cut the noodles. So we take out this noodle and place in a strainer. We're going to cut it. If you have a kitchen scissor, it's easy to cut it. But if you don't have a scissor, don't try with a knife. It's hard. It's dangerous to cut it with a knife. But you can easily purchase the kitchen knife from the Amazon. And this is, making your life easier. You can cut it everything without the cutting board. So I cut the noodle, and you see the length. I'm going to show the length. This size. And I'm going to make a noodle sauce. We need 8 minutes to cook the noodle sauce. We need 5 cups of water, plain water. That's easy. 5 cups of water, half cup of soy sauce, and the recipe, I put the 1/3 cups of sugar, but it depends on your taste. So for mine, I reduced it to 1/4. And we need 4 tablespoons of cooking oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we dump it and cut noodle into the bowl. And last, we're gonna add the sesame oil. And we're gonna keep stirring on the high heat. It takes about 8 minutes. And you need to keep stirring. So we need 8 minutes. It's gonna be hard boiled on the high heat. We need about 8 minutes to cook noodle. Keep stirring. So while we're cooking this noodle, I'm gonna introduce our Korean traditional soy sauce. This is as I mentioned at first, that 70% of the Korean food is fermented. And Korean traditional soy sauce contains no flour. And it contains no flour and made with a 100% fermented soybean and water and sea salt. And this, sorry. Can you see it?
Yeah, I think we lost the image, Jan.
Okay.
It
Okay. Let me
started, but
show, yeah.
now
Let
it
me show
is
image
there.
one.
It's back.
Yeah. This is the do you remember doenjang soybean paste sauce? There's a fermented soybean block called the meju. Do you remember? In the meantime, I'm gonna show how we make it. This is fermented soy block, and this is the major key of our major sauce: soy sauce, soybean paste sauce, and the gochujang, which is the hot paste soy sauce. And this is how we're making it. Sorry, it's keep roasting.
Yeah, I think
We are making a block like here with we boil the soybean and then we make a block and let it dry for a couple of months and this we use for our major sauces. This is the meju, as I mentioned. We dried it and then we make a 간장, Korean traditional soy sauce. How we make it? We sanitate our earthen jar with the charcoal. And then we place the meju, soybean block, fermented soybean block, and we add water, sea salt, and meju block. So in ancient Korea, when an enlightenment teacher first made the meju, he let the energy of the heavens go into meju by drying it by sun. He let the breath of a Buddha go into meju by drying it by wind. Finally, the energy of the sea was added by soaking and measure in the salt water. So this is a Korean traditional soy sauce. So this is the Korean traditional soy sauce without the flour. And it's a very traditional way to make it. And this is also another sauce that we are adding. It's a gochujang. You make a powder with the veg powder, adding grain syrup and the pepper powder together, and then let it ferment it, and then we use it as a main sauce. So sorry. 현정 그거 다시 갖다 줘. 이리 갖다 줘. So we need to keep stirring. Don't forget to keep stirring the noodles. So you need to keep stirring.
Oh, it's showing the. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're back.
This your noodle. Keep stirring, and it takes about 8 minutes until it's fully cooked. And by the way, the soybeans are very rich in lecithin, but when they fermented, they have even more lecithin. And anyone heard about lecithin before? That is good for your brain function, actually. In the States, they tested two groups, one group with the lecithin, another group without the lecithin, and they compared after 2 years. And the group with the lecithin, they have the Alzheimer patients who had a lecithin for 2 years, their memorizing skill got actually improved. So soybean is good for your brain function, especially the fermented one. You need to keep stirring. It takes about 8 minutes. And while we're cooking the noodle, I want to tell you about how to make a green rice. I never seen that, you need to wash the rice before you cook it. So before you cook the rice, you need to wash the rice first and then let it stay in cold water at least 30 minutes and to cook with the fresh water. The reason we ask you to place the rice in water, of course, it gets soaked and it tastes better. But scientific nutrition reason we are asking is it produces a good protein, gamma uric acid, and that is good for releasing your stress level in your brain. So you need to keep stirring. How we are doing? We're doing okay.
So what are you going to do with the extra liquid in that?
Extra liquid you can use for the next one. We're gonna separate. We're gonna drain the noodles and the sauce. And this sauce you can use for the another japchae. If you want, you can. This sauce you can freeze it. Once you make it this marinating, noodle sauce, you can make it. We're gonna drain it. So leftover sauce you can use for another time. You can freeze it.
And if you refrigerate it, is there like a time period?
Refrigerated, it takes about, it can stay 2 or 3 days maximum.
Okay.
Keep stirring. And I think mine is done. So we need to drain it. If you need 2 or 3 more minutes, just keep stirring. And then we need to cool down the noodle. And while we're cooling down the noodle, we're gonna show short film on Korean bronzeware, Japchae, which is very interesting. It contains with the copper and tin, and it keeps, food very fresh, and it cool down. It takes, and we need to cool down a little bit. It takes about 10 minutes. So while we're waiting to cooling down, we're gonna show short film on Korean bronze oil, Japchae. I hope you enjoyed the film. How was it? Was it interesting?
Yes, we wish we could get some of that.
Yeah, because it's not easy to find in the States, but we carry some. So if anybody want to purchase, just let us know. Yeah, because
So all of their pieces have to be hand manufactured. I mean,
some part of these days is a machinized, but but still working with the hands. Yeah, for the artisans.
right.
And the Pangcha is, as you can see, if you want to learn more about Pangcha, you can read from our books, 15 Wonders of Korea. You can visit our website and you can download it, or you can, get a copy from library. So this Pangcha bronzeware is also give you a lot of health benefit as you can watch it. And that's also coming from our enlightened masters of wisdom, that we want to, benefit the people. And that basic concept, idea is coming from our founding philosophy called the 홍익인간, which means live for the benefit of all mankind. So following the philosophy, Korea never invaded any other country throughout our 5,000 years of history, and then we invented a lot of good things for people. You can learn more about this philosophy also from our book called The Practice of 홍익인간, which is available on our website. So we're gonna season the spinach. To remember, we start with the spinach, and then we're gonna season the spinach, and then we're gonna mix the noodle with the vegetable. And I'm gonna show how to season the spinach. This is a cooked spinach we already cooked at first. We're gonna cut like inch length here and place it in the bowl. We're gonna add soy sauce and a little bit of a sweet if you want, but if you don't, you don't have to add it. And if you want to add a garlic, minced garlic, that's fine. This is the little bit of a sesame oil. and toasted grounded sesame seed. And mix it together. Gently mix it. And this is actually it can be one of our side dish, 나물. It's a 나물 is a Korean word. It's a vegetable side dishes. And if you want to try new side for your steak, you can try this one, Korean style spinach on the side for, this is good. So, and we're gonna mix the noodles with the vegetable one by one by color, from light color to dark color. So this is the onion. We're gonna toast it, gently toast it, and yellow bell pepper and orange bell pepper. If you taste it blended and if you think you need more flavor, you can add the soy sauce or any sweet. If you think if you need more, you can add. It depends on your taste. And this is carrot and the red bell pepper. And this is the mushroom. Last, we're gonna add the spinach and gently toast. And I'm gonna add a little bit of toasted grounded sesame seed, make it sweet, and as a garnish a little bit. And we prepared the 1 table setting. This is table setting for 1 person. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. Can you see it? And I'm gonna place my japchae.
Beautiful colors in there.
Yeah, it's 5 different colors. I hope you remember each color is good for your each organ. This is gonna be dinner for one of our member tonight. And we pan fry the egg. We separate egg white and egg yolk and pan fry and thin slice. We're gonna put as a decoration garnish on the top here. So this is it.
And
So,
what are the other items on the tray?
okay, let me tell you what we have here. Can you see it? Okay. Closer.
Yes.
Can you see it closer? Let me adjust it. Okay. Okay. This is rice, 된장 soup, soybean paste sauce. Remember, I mentioned a lot of times the soybean, fermented the soybean block. And this is a pan-fried egg. And this is a pan-fried zucchini. And the fish, roasted fish. And this is japchae that we made it today.
Yes.
So as I mentioned, it's a balance. We ate it together, all together, from the carbo to protein, veggie, minerals, everything in all one meal. So the good balanced meal is actually you need the grain, protein, and the vegetable. So, according to the scientists, that we need the grain and the vegetable all together in a one meal. So Korean meal I think is ideal for everyone.
Is there anybody that has a question? You can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question.
Oh, before I end it, I want to show some additional recipe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. This is a sesame. Can you see this dressing? Sesame dressing. So if you purchase the sesame oil and soy sauce, you can try to make a sesame dressing. You just need the soy sauce, sesame oil, honey or sugar, balsamic vinegar, lemon juice, apple juice, minced garlic. Recipe 1 is more complicated. Recipe 2 is more simple. So you can use the sesame oil every day for the sesame dressing. Actually, sesame contains a lot of omega-3. And we in Korea, we use a lot of sesame oil and sesame seed, even for when we make a marinating beef. The reason, so that's good for your, we also use the perilla oil, also called the wild sesame oil, that contains more good omega-3. And I'm gonna show another recipe, additional recipe. Can you see it?
Yes, yes.
So if you have a leftover japchae can kept in refrigerator up to 3 or 4 days. It depends on your refrigerator. But before you eat it, you need to reheat until noodle gets soft, and it's gonna be chewy again when you reheat it. You can just pan fry it. And then if you want to keep the japchae longer, you can freeze it. And the same way, defrost, and then you can reheat. And also, if you have a rice, you can try to make a japchae over the rice. And if you have a rice paper, you can put the leftover japchae and wrap it and pan fry it. Or if you have a kim, it's a seaweed paper, you can put the leftover japchae, as you can see the picture here, and put the japchae inside and wrap it, make a barrel, and then you can deep fry it. So you can try with the other way. So anyone has a question, or we're good?
Uh,
I have a question.
Yes.
What is the difference between sesame oil and toasted sesame oil? The taste is different.
Oh, the sesame oil to cold pressed one. We have 2 different types of sesame oil: cold pressed one and the toasted sesame oil. Have you seen the 2 different types?
Yes, I have. I like the toasted.
Yeah,
better.
toasted one is actually has more rich flavor, and I don't remember the name of the nutrition facts, but when you toast the sesame, it produced something good for your health. I cannot remember the name of it, but the reason in Korea traditionally we toast and press the sesame oil. Cold pressed oil cannot stay longer than toasted one, and the toasted sesame oil has a rich flavor.
Yeah, thank you. 고맙습니다.
감사합니다. Any other question?
I think we would love to have you back and do the Korean barbecue for us.
Yeah, I'm sorry, a little bit of the technical issues today, but when we have the next time for bulgogi, it's gonna be more smooth.
No, I have to say this, the quality of the video in general is better than we've ever seen before. The fact that you have the camera that you move, from the dish to viewing you is.
Thank you for your understanding me. Yes. I'm sorry there was a technical issue was not went through smoothly, but when we can have a more smooth program if we can come back with other recipes.
Yes. Well, we look forward to the day when maybe we.
I found you very, very well organized. I enjoyed how you had everything laid out. The camera was sensational because you could really see everything. I liked the little interviews a little bit when you took us to talk about the other things, the beans and the making of the beautiful
bronzeware, yeah.
Bronzeware and all. It's very nicely done, very well organized.
Thank you so much. Thank you for comments. Thank you for your comments and just.
I yelled at my husband. He spent 3 years in Korea and never had Korean food.
So we can try with our recipe link. So just I'm gonna expect your email soon for the future program.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you very much. I hope
Thank you very
everybody
much
has
for
a
joining
pleasant
us
evening.
tonight, everyone. I hope
And
you have a
anybody who
great
did
evening.
not pick up the book or a kit with the recipes, and we also had some noodles in there, just send me an email at reference@mattlibrary.org, and we will put one aside for you. All right?
Okay, Lynn, I'm gonna send you additional recipes for the whoever interested in try it. So I'm gonna email you the additional recipe with the leftover japchae and the sesame dressing. Yeah,
Perfect, perfect.
great.
That would
All
be
right,
great.
thank you
That
and
would
good
be
night,
great.
everyone. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hope to see you
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.